Hello everybody, my name is Mike Matanti. I am a sommelier here in the Chicagoland area with over 20 years experience in restaurants and wine retail. I'm also a co-host of a wine podcast called That Wine Pod. I am here now with my friends from Wine on the Bluff to talk about the wines from their Valentine's package. We're going to start off with the white wine from the package. This is a Chardonnay from California. It comes from Sonoma County, and it is a small little place in Sonoma. The appellation that it comes from within Sonoma is called the Bennett Valley, and it comes from an even more specific place called Simpatico Ranch, and we'll get into that in a few more minutes. The winery is called Argot. It's a fun story, Argot, and if you're here in Chicago, it's actually got a cool Chicago connection. The winemaker, Justin Harmon, is from the Chicagoland area. He got into wine as a fan, as a consumer. He really enjoyed going to tastings and learning more and more about wine, and through developing his own passion, he ended up making wine in his basement, a little home winemaking. He also had a background in chemistry, so those two things went hand in hand, fermentation and wine and chemistry and all that. And he eventually made his way out to California, where he did a little bit of interning out there, was a cellar, assistant, helping with harvest, helping other winemakers. He took a lot of trips out there as well as he was learning about wine. And in 2007, he was able to get his hands on his own grapes and made his own wine for the first time under his label Argot. So really cool background, very small winery, very small production here. This is again, small plot that this wine comes from. It is from the vintage 2013. Simpatico Ranch in the Bennett Valley. This is a really cool climate area that is a special volcanic crater. So volcanic soils in this crater that gets these really cool breezes that come through to keep the climate nice and cold, which is great for Chardonnay, where it preserves the freshness and the acidity, while the warm, sunny days really ripen that fruit, giving us that body and that lushness and power that we're accustomed to with California wines. So this is old vine Chardonnay. They were probably about 35, 36 years old at the time that this vintage was produced. So nice old vines. And what happens here with this Chardonnay is it's very creamy, rich, and oak driven, because when the fruit is harvested, it goes straight into French oak barrels where it's fermented, and then it is aged in the oak barrels for 16 more months in contact with the lees. The lees are kind of the solids that are part of the winemaking process. And when the juice and the lees are in contact, you get this nice richness and fullness and texture that really comes out in barrel fermented Chardonnay. When it is done resting in the barrels, it's transferred to a tank, stainless steel tank, for about 2 months, where it can settle and preserve that freshness and that crispness that we were talking about a few moments ago from the nice, cool climate. So really cool bottle, not your typical Chardonnay bottle, which we call a Burgundy bottle. This is a little bit more vertical, very unique, and it comes with a almost wax, maybe a little bit of like a plastic sort of waxy capsule on top. And I just very easily took the blade of my corkscrew and chipped away at the top. You may even be able to just go straight in with the corkscrew and pull the wine out right through the wax. As you can see, not a whole lot came off. I left most of it on and just got the top off, wiped it with a little towel, and pulled the cork. And away we go. So let's taste this together and talk about what we got. So Wonderful that it has a little bit of age to it, because Chardonnay really develops with a little bit extra bottle age and some time to rest to give it a little more complexity, a little more flavor, and even more richness and softness in the wine. Really beautiful flavors, aromas coming right out of the glass right away. Plenty of beautiful ripe fruit. There's apple, pear, a lot of orchard fruit, little hint of lemon, and then this beautiful like acacia floral component. There's a nice sort of like toasted hazelnut, toasted almond, a little bit of that nuttiness coming through on the nose, which is hallmark for barrel aged and barrel fermented Chardonnay. Yeah, some really beautiful spices. This is just an absolute dynamite nose. So let's give it a taste. Wow. Rich, creamy, luscious, coats the palate, nice and full-bodied, but at the same time, very refreshing, very crisp. The acidity for Chardonnay is naturally high. When it goes through the barrel fermentation, it goes through something called malolactic fermentation, where the naturally high and aggressive acidity from Chardonnay is actually chemically transformed into lactic acid, that soft acid that you would find in milk. But it's still fresh and vibrant, but it's really soft on the palate. Really lovely, lovely long finish. This whole time I've been talking after I tasted it, I'm still tasting the flavors on the finish. Again, I think that bottle age has a lot to do with it here. And really wonderfully complex. Just all those beautiful fruit tones come through. The hazelnut and almond, the floral component, everything is there. A little bit of honeysuckle. Again, really soft, just an absolute pleasure to drink. Really excellent choice here for a Valentine's Day package, because this is going to go with some of those great Valentine's Day foods. If you want to make yourself a special dinner, I think some butter poached lobster and this wine would be out of this world. Great classic pairing. You could also do like a seafood pasta too. Maybe you get some crab meat and a lobster tail, some scallops, just some shrimp. Make a nice, simple, straightforward, creamy pasta with some fresh seafood. That would be a wonderful, wonderful preparation. Also think of baked or wood oven roasted seafood, very simply prepared, maybe a nice lemon white wine butter sauce with it, some roasted potatoes or mashed potatoes, potato gratin. The more cream and butter and heaviness, the better the dish and the better it's going to pair with this wine. Maybe some wild mushrooms can go along with that fish and potatoes too. I think some really nice butter sauteed wild mushrooms would pair wonderfully with this. It'd be a really nice pairing. You do get a little bit of earthiness from this wine too. So cheers, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you very much for your support of Wines on the Bluff, and I really hope that you enjoy this Chardonnay.